Good evening and welcome to Orange and Blue Bloods Thursday. I'm Buddy Martin. This is the Buddy Martin Show. You heard me last night, the night before. I'm on 4 nights a week and sometimes more. Tonight on the program, it's time to talk with the family. Orange and Blue Bloods. Ben Troupe will be here shortly. And then we'll have Franz Beard. The Iron Duke will be joining us. It's a tough week. Thoughts and prayers to his family. And then Loren Meadows, the coach, will be here, all to talk about what else? How things have changed for this Florida Gator football team. Or, in fact, have they? What's your take? All of a sudden, you're hearing more people begin to say, well, let's take a look. Well, a lot of conversation about these Florida Gators. So come and join us tonight. Give us your thoughts. Always love sharing them with you right here on this program. Stay tuned. The Buddy Martin Show is coming up next. Tell your friends and neighbors to join us.
Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening, everybody. Would you ever think we'd have this much talk about this Florida football team on open date week? Seems like a talking material because I'm hearing about them on a lot of the national shows now. People are just beginning to catch up. If you notice some of these national sites, they lag a little bit behind the reality of what's going on. They're back somewhere on the page where Billy Napier is going to be fired, which is where we were a couple of weeks ago. I was on Shane Matthews' show this week, as I am every Tuesday morning. And I had one guy challenge me and said, wait a minute, buddy. Didn't you just say here recently you thought Billy should not be retained? I said, I did, with this caveat. First of all, you have to have someone to replace him. And I did say I couldn't see a path forward for Billy Napier. Let me clarify this because apparently I don't get across to everybody. After the Tennessee game, I sat down with some friends of mine, guys that I thought were very knowledgeable Gator fans. I said, talk to me about this. Tell me where you think it is. So I could just say, well, let's go, fire him, forget about it, just bring the new guy in, or let's see what he can do, give him one more shot. I felt like I'd been fairly harsh. Even my wife told me she thought some of my columns were pretty harsh. And I thought, well, maybe I need to kind of listen to them. And I'll just say they were. Randy Briggs, my good friend, very erudite fan. And Freddie Weeby, they had different views. They talked about how they saw progress. I'm not one to get into moral victories, but sometimes when you're assessing progress, you have to evaluate based on if a team's getting better or not. Well, clearly this team was getting better. I did not see this coming against Kentucky. I did not. And then to have your starting quarterback and running back out and have two young men step up like we saw on Saturday night, it was really kind of epic. It was fun. It was rewarding. It was interesting. And suddenly people are sort of glommed onto this saying, hey, I want to watch this team and see what these young people do because they're going to be with us for a while. So this transformation, I guess that's what you can call it, has changed some minds. There's some people out there who have been pretty critical of Billy. I've been among them. And they're saying, even some people are saying, you know what? I think we should wait, play it out, see how it does. And there are some things to be decided. Like we all will agree that the team that Florida should beat, don't give them the W yet, is Florida State, who can't beat anybody. That's one. They only need to have one more to get bowl eligible. And I was asked today about that. Do you think that'll save his job? I said, I think it will. If they get bowl eligible, be 6-6 on this year, and show some improvement in the postseason, I think Billy's back. I'm not so sure Billy's not back anyway. So a lot of people have views on that. I want to get yours. I'm not going to move too far. Last night we had Allie P. McGraw on, and she said she's not ready to say they're there yet. And I'm not either. But I like what I see. There's enthusiasm that I have not seen. They're fun to watch, and I love these two young players. If you followed my show at all or followed my columns on Gatorade Media, by the way, that's how you get a hold of our columns, GatorAdeMedia.com. Join up. A lot of people have this month. You'll see how Franz Beard and I, the yin and yang, how we've been going on this. And we try to stay with the current tempo of what's going on. And you'll see and notice that I have, tried to take a more open approach to it this week. And I think there is a chance. I'm not going to make any wild predictions or say that someone said today, oh, Feinbaum, do you think they can win out and go to the playoffs? Well, no, I don't. And I know some people do, and that's okay. As your team, you should believe in them. For me, and trying to assess it, being fairly and being honest, I can't go that far. But look, stranger things have happened. This team has now got a winning record. They have a week off. They used last week off to really improve their defense. Their defense is better. Their quarterback, I love the quarterback. If you heard me talk about it, since today you set foot on campus and I watched him throw, I said, this is a real player. I believed he was going to be a transformative quarterback, and I said so. Some people went, buddy, well, okay, that was what I thought. And then when I first laid eyes on the running back, Ball, I told Shane Matthews, this guy looks really good. And Shane and I had a little bit of a dust-up about it. Not a real dust-up. He disagreed. First of all, he didn't know that Ball was 6'1.5" or 2" and 235 pounds and could run like he could run. And he insisted he'd stood next to him on the sideline, and he wasn't that big. And I said, I'm not bashing Shane because I love Shane. Shane knows more football than I'll ever know. But the point is that I saw it with my eyes and said what I believe to be true. And I'd say he looked pretty good scoring 5 touchdowns the other night, okay? So that's where we are. We all have our opinions about this. We all have our thoughts. And let's get some of your thoughts tonight already on the boards. Thank you for signing on. Well, by the way, we'll have a band shortly, and then we'll have Franz and Loren. Thank you, Bruce Green, for the comment. Toby Parmer, it's always great to see you. Perry Mason, 3 of our regulars, guys. Dan Bond, what's up, Dan Bond? Writing some good stories for us. Tommy Seal, good evening to you. Perry Mason says, who cares? Go Gators. In a way, it's kind of how you have to do it. Get your team. Let's see. Wally Gator, good evening. Mr. Bassman says Mullen wouldn't play Trask until Felipe got hurt. Deja vu. Good point. That is true. Trask couldn't get on the field until that night against Kentucky when Felipe got hurt. And sometimes that's what it takes. Coaches will tell you, out of necessity, you put players on the field, not expecting them to be all that polished, and they'll surprise you. One of the great stories Steve Spurrier ever told me was how they beat Clemson when he was like 1-3 at Duke. And he said, had they not beaten Clemson, he'd never gotten the job at Florida. He talks about how some of these second and third stringers stepped up and played the game of their life. Well, you know what? This happens. Stars born right there sometime. That's what happens. So anyway, we'll go on. Shaper Smith, cautiously watching. It was fun to win. To win one, I agree. Caution is fine. But, I mean, look, you've been waiting for something good to happen. You got it. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Chris Widener, this is where we get into trouble. Chris Weller says, I'm happy to be thinking we can beat Georgia. Well, can we beat Georgia? What do you think? How far do your dreams carry you? Franz Beard will have something to say about that because he loves the idea of beating Georgia. But he says, go Gators, fly around on D, smash and have fun. The offense is getting better quickly. And that's what you want. Now you got some fans like Chris here, who all of a sudden is getting his dauber up, as they say, and he is beginning to appreciate this team he's got, and that's all you can do. Yeah. Mr. Bassman says if Billy can stay, I hope he hires a stud offensive coordinator. Well, yeah, we kind of all wanted that, and we'll see. There's a lot of people think he will. I don't know. Lately, his calls have been pretty good. Schaefer Smith says he can most definitely ensure his next year's chances by hiring an OC. Mr. Bassman Kirby will have his team ready. Oh, of course he will. I mean, look at what has happened in this SEC. This is what we talked about. Look at what I put it on my show tees today. Do you realize it looks like this? It looks like that maybe this league is not an easiest thing in the world for the newbies. The team from Texas and the team from Oklahoma. People thought Texas was going to rule the SEC. Guess what? Didn't happen. And here's Georgia. So many good things have happened. Interesting. It's a great season. But, boy, it's not going to change. Georgia's going to rule the roost, I think. We'll see what happens. I think a team going to watch is also LSU. Dan Bond said Shane said Lagway was not great in practice to start the season. He also said Werfel was not good in practice, was a gamer. I don't blame Napier for sticking with Mertz. No, I don't either. And I understand that. And I understand, of course, and there's some people who are not good practice players. They just aren't. So let's see here before we take a break. Michael Burton says SOS just talked about running back at Duke. They replaced a good singer. Yeah, I mean, and the book I wrote, you can't see it behind me. I don't think it's up there. Don't want you to do that book. Anyway, it talks about that game, the Georgia, the South Carolina game with Clemson, where they upset a nationally ranked team, and an unranked team beat them, and that changed the dynamics. And one of the things was they had a running back that played out of his gourd. You never played that way before. So that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you get that juice, just get it. So then also, I think we got Ben. Let me do this. Let me go ahead and get Ben in here. And we'll talk about our sponsors tonight and talk with Pastor Troupe, see if he's got a sermon plan tonight. Good evening, Ben.
What's going on with you tonight, buddy?
How you doing, man? Just in time to let me do this commercial, and we're going to get after it, all right?
Let's do it.
I want to tell folks how glad I am to have people like our sponsor of this program, Meldon Law, who has been very loyal to not just me, but to the University of Florida. Huge fans, always supporting, raising money. One of the things Jeffrey did lately was get the band some vans to drive around in to go. Always giving away stuff on his website. Go to their Facebook page. You'll find out tickets and all kind of things. It does a lot of great things in the community. Man, they also practice law, and I'm here to say I'm a proud customer. I've been very, very happy with them handling a legal matter for me, and I would highly recommend that you trust them and they get you the right lawyer, and so they will do that too. Meldon Law, you know them well. You know they say they don't back down. They don't back down. Meldon Law. Even to you, Ben.
Man, always good to be on with you, buddy. I'm looking at all the comments over here, and I said I'm reading some of the comments over here, and I'm hearing about DJ Lagway and practice habits and all these different things. And
yeah,
I will say this, buddy. This goes all the way back to before the season started. We were talking about just how difficult Florida's schedule was, and sometimes, the first game of the year wasn't really something that we wanted to ride home about. Miami didn't, put a good taste in our mouth, and Texas A&M, also. But I'm listening to Devin Moore. I'm reading these guys' comments, and I'm reading some of the players' comments. I don't know how many freshmen have this much of an impact in games that matter for no other school like Florida. Now, I know it's a one-game sample size. I'm not trying to say that it's going to be like this every week, but, buddy, you know this, better than anybody. the hardest thing to do, the two hardest things to do at Florida is one, be the head coach, and two, be the quarterback. That's going to be the two hardest things. The head coach, no matter what happens, good or bad, they're going to get all the scrutiny. And the blame is going to go on the quarterback. DJ Lagway, true freshman, we knew that 2025 was going to be his time. We knew that. But, buddy, I got to give you a lot of credit. You kept saying this as soon as this kid got on campus. You said, look, I've seen a lot of them now. I've seen a lot of them. And I'm talking about the quarterback position, from Shane to Danny to Rex to Chris, and Trask, and the list goes on and on. What you appreciate the most about DJ Lagway is, to me, and this is going back to my senior year when I had a freshman quarterback by the name of Chris Lee. What I can appreciate about him, he is a true gunslinger. Like, he is a guy that said, look, you give me Badger and Wilson and DK, and the list goes on, he can find a way to improvise. Now, he's going to have to make sure he keeps himself out of harm's way. It's like protecting himself. But, Coach Spurrier is not on the payroll. Coach Spurrier do not have to say favorable things about Florida. Now, he's going to be favorable when he can, but even Coach Spurrier, I second what Chris Doran says. I'm all in on DJ. And you know this, buddy. People think, oh, Ben, you got to say that. No, I don't. You got to be complimentary. No, I don't. I just know what I'm looking at, and I just appreciate that we said 7-5 with this schedule is coaching. Now we 4-3. Could easily be 5-1. I don't think we would be 6-0 or 7-0 right now. Could be 5-2, 6-1 maybe. What I can appreciate, buddy, and maybe I want to hear your sentiments. This defense has gotten better. They really, really have. And we kept saying, when are we going to see some? When are we going to see some return on investment? When is this defense going to turn the corner? Listen, the DB coach from Florida, his name, Will Harris. Harris. Buddy, it's paying dividends right now. And I just can appreciate that. If you would have told me, yes, we got them boys from Athens coming to Jacksonville, I get it. But, buddy, the optimism is real because of the improvement week to week, not because of just last week and the week before that. It's optimism, in Gainesville, as it should be. And like I said, I'm just looking forward to this team to continue to make strides. And, you got freshmen scoring, Ball scoring 5 touchdowns. I know you talked about him a lot coming out of the spring game, like how well he looked in the spring game. I'm just happy for these players because they have to deal with the most. I mean, Billy Napier, he has to deal with scrutiny, but he's a grown man, right? He can deal with it. When you 18 to 22 years old and the games or the atmosphere hasn't been what you wanted it to be and you stayed the course. I mean, I saw that Graham Mertz had a successful ACL surgery today. I'm happy for him. I'm just happy for the players, buddy, because I think sometimes the only way culture is ever implemented for real, you got to win. You can be the best player coach. You can get the facilities. You can make a lot of improvements. Culture only exists when you win. And with Coach Billy Napier, I mean, I know he's showing a little more fire. I will say this, and I know I'm going to keep beating a dead horse. It's not too late for Billy Napier to have to sit down with you, buddy, for this reason. We're watching him grow as a coach, as a man, as a play caller. He needs to have that exclusive just to say, all right, I just want to breathe. Like, buddy, I just want to breathe and just get it out. Because I think DJ Lagway is definitely going to make it so that Billy Napier will be back in 2025 because of DJ. Not just because of DJ, but that's a big reason why. And now, we got a fighting chance against Georgia. Yes, Georgia's still the premier school in the country. We got a fighting chance against Texas. We got a fighting chance against LSU. We got a fighting chance against Ole Miss at home. And if we don't beat Florida State this year, I mean, good Lord. I just think that now more than ever, we kept talking about that gauntlet, and it's coming. Starting with Georgia. Yeah. I hope those guys really, really cherish these moments because that's what they are. And like I say, like DJ Lagway, love DJ Lagway. He's a gamer. And for people that be thinking that practice is the truest barometer of a player, it's not. It's not. It's look, man, practice is to get the kinks out. You're going up against the same people all the time, so they know your tendencies. I think for DJ, when people say he's a gamer, I'll take a gamer over a great practice player any day. Because, buddy, what's the point of being a great practice player if it doesn't translate over to the field? DJ Lagway is getting confident every single play, every single snap, every single throw, and I'm going to be interested to see, because now if you're a receiver in Florida, you are licking your chops because you got a shot.
Boy, there's a stat out here that I tried to put it up on the screen, but I can't get it up here. It's an amazing stat, and I've got it in a bar chart somewhere. It's from most yards per catch. I can't put the video, but I'll just give you let me give you the top 4 or 5. 5 is Omar Cooper Jr. 4 is Treon Sibley. 3 is Antoine Wells Jr. 2 is Mario Craver, and number 1 is Elijah Badger, 23.8 yards per catch, leading the nation in those catches. So that's what we're getting out of there. And also one other thing I want to get to you, and we got Franz sitting there in the other room, but I want to get this whole FSU. Here's kind of an odd talk about FSU. This sounds like a death spiral. There are 661 NCAA programs in this country. I didn't know that. I read it. There are 25 that have not scored more than 21 points in a game this season. There's 1 FCS school, 5 Division II schools, 18 Division III schools, and 1 FBS school, Florida State.
Wow. I mean, it's a buddy. Look, there are a lot of ways to look at what's going on. What's going on in the state of Florida? You see what's going on down there. With them boys in Coral Gables. Cam Ward and company undefeated. Florida's 4-3 right now, and obviously it ain't what you wanted, but it could be a lot worse. If Billy Napier would have gone undefeated in 2023, and he's 1-6 in 2024, buddy, we would be losing it. And here's the thing. When you start talking about what's going on at that school over there in Tallahassee, it's a head scratcher because you didn't start off. You took over for Willie Taggart. It didn't go well. You have a good season, then you have a great season, and now it's like, excuse me. But that buyout is $64 million. So Norvell, he'll be right there. I just think for Billy Napier and company, control what you can control. Don't get to worrying about what's going on around you. Thank God that you got players like DJ Lagway, who I heard so much in the recruiting cycle saying, we're not going to get him, we're not going to get him, we're not going to get him. We got him. He's pretty freaking good. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I just say this. As much as I listen to those practice reports and what's coming out of the practice, this and the third, I believe it, but I trust my eyes on Saturdays.
Got to trust your eyes.
So I'm going to on Saturday. Yes, sir.
Guys like you and Franz who've been around and seen the game a long time, why wouldn't you trust your eyes as much as any coach? Sometimes more. You trust what you see. It's hard because we don't get to see them very much. But, I mean, I saw enough. Now, I might pat myself on the back. I saw enough out of Lagway right off the bat and said, wait a minute, this guy is something special. The way he, sometimes, and they'll bring Franz in the operations of the conversation, it's sometimes the way a guy carries himself gives you a hint of what kind of athlete he is. And from the time I saw how he carried himself, where he threw the football, I love this kid. And now he's even better than I thought. So we'll say good evening to the Iron Duke. Franz, good evening.
How you doing, guys?
Well, here we are. We're actually talking about Billy saving his job, believe it or not. And who would have thought that loser starting quarterback and tailback and beat Kentucky and talk about trying to find somebody that can beat behind Florida State? Because if he goes 6-6, Franz, don't you think he saves his job?
I think he may have already saved it. I think 6-6, though, there's absolutely 100% no way he loses it, but I think he already has. You know, buddy, I wrote back after the Samford game watching DJ. I said DJ Lagway may have saved Billy's job after that game because of watching those throws that he made. And I said, do you risk losing this guy who is such a special talent, who throws a deep ball? The only person the only two people I've seen to throw a deep ball as well as this guy are Rex Grossman and Doug Johnson. Rex Grossman and Doug Johnson could flat out fling it. Now, Dougie may have had trouble with that 12-yarder because he decided that on the 12-yarder he wanted to throw a 107-mile-an-hour fastball, and the ball gets on you. But by gosh, he could flat out fling it deep. And Rex threw a great deep ball. Rex may be as good an intermediate passer as we've ever had. That 15 to 17 yard pass was always, you could turn around, it was there. But he threw a great deep ball as well. But this kid just throws an incredible deep ball, and he's only going to get better. I don't know that Rex could have made the throws he made when he was an 18-year-old freshman, just turned 19, by the way, last week. I don't know that Rex could have made those throws when he was 19. I'm not sure Doug Johnson could have made those throws when he was 19. But this kid can make that throw when he's 19 years old.
Right.
And that says a lot right there about the future.
Yeah, and Ben to jump in here as a receiver and explain to us, it looks to me like his ball is more catchable than most balls. I mean, just the way the ball comes in, it looks you talk about Doug Johnson. Everything was 108 miles an hour. Good player. I'm not knocking him. Grossman had a little fastball there too. But Lagway has the ability to lay some of those dimes he dropped in over the top were unbelievable. So accurate and catchable. And you don't have to think too hard about it when you're running down the field full speed and you puts it right in your breadbasket, Ben. That's right there. Are you there, Ben?
Yeah, I'm here. I lost you for a second. I'm here.
Yeah. So a catchable ball, he certainly got it. And that's something. It's like you can't help but catch the ball when that kid throws it to you. He's amazing.
He got that flick of the wrist. The thing about DJ is that first one he threw the Badger, right? And the thing, and Badger kind of like, he gave it to him in a point to where Badger caught it, but he almost overthrew him. And because of the catch, as they get more rapport with each other, Badger gonna split both of them. Say he's gonna score. That's gonna be a touchdown. Because what a quarterback is doing with a receiver, I'm looking at your tendencies. Okay, I'm looking at your mannerisms. Okay, and the hardest throw in football, at any level, is a 9 route on the sideline. That's the hardest throw to catch and make. And the fact that Badger had to turn around, people like he had to wait on it. Like, no, man. I think the thing about some of DJ's passes is, as a receiver, look, as a tight end, I call seams down the middle. I'm not catching 40 and 50 yards. I can catch a 25-yard and break a tackle. We can end up with 40. I think the thing about DJ has touch, but being able to throw the deep ball is a skill set. Everybody can't do it. DJ can do it. And the thing, and I'm gonna keep saying this about deep balls. You throw deep balls, right, to make the safeties back up, right? And to let those receivers know, hey, man, I'm not going to have y'all running 9 routes all week, and I'm not going to throw you one, on Saturday. DJ's balls are pretty, man. They are. I mean, because he barely get his body run. That thing is out. Like, he got that torque in his body, and he comes – he's nice, and that's – yes, people going to say, Ben, you biased. You can call me biased if you want to. I know – when Rex Grossman went to the combine in 2003, there was a dude there named Tyrone Calico that went to Middle Tennessee State University, in Murfreesboro. He got drafted in the second round to the Titans. When I got to the Titans, He said, Ben, welcome to the Titans. He said, you played with Rex Grossman? I go, yeah, I played with Rex for 3 years. He said, we were fighting as receivers when Rex got out there to throw. He said, I've never had a quarterback. He said, mind you, Calico ran like a 4.3. This dude is super fast. 6'4", ran a 4.3. He said most quarterbacks, when they throw him a deep end cut, he got the weight on the ball. So when he come out of his cut, he got to slow down, throttle down. He said Rex Grossman got back that 5-step drop. He said I barely came out of my cut, and the ball hit me in the face like this. Bam! It hit him in the face. Because like I say, certain guys, Chris Leak had a beautiful deep ball. Rex had a beautiful deep ball. I caught a ball from Doug Johnson my rookie year with the Titans down the seam. Certain guys get to show it off. And DJ is, like I say, the receivers, I guarantee you. They asking DJ, hey, man, what you like to eat? What you like to eat when you leave the facility? They trying to buddy up to him. I would. Hey, DJ, you need something? You good? I'm trying to be, hey, I don't care if I'm 21 and he's 19. I want to be in DJ's good graces because anybody can get the rock right now.
Oh, yeah, he's going to give you the ball.
He's 19 years old. I don't know what he likes to eat, likes to go and do, but he's I'm just happy that Florida got him because Kentucky knew they was in trouble with that first throw. The very first throw. No. The most impressive thing he did in that first drive when he tucked in and ran it, I don't even know how he got that first down. He stuck his foot in the ground, got the first down, and Kentucky defense was like, what is going on? And then when he started making throws, hey, man, Brock Vandegrift was supposed to be the 5-star that used to be at Georgia, right? Now he's at Kentucky. Hey, man, he's a real 5-star. We got him. He's a true freshman. And I just hope he stays healthy. Looking forward to watching the man ball.
Yeah. Brock Vandegrift only makes throws like DJ throws in his wildest dreams. I mean, he can sit there and have dreams like that all night long, but that's as close as he's ever going to come to making a throw like that. You watch him last week and you understand why he sat 3 years at Georgia.
Yeah. Franz, I want to get you to talk for a second with Ben, too, about the receivers. So all of a sudden, they got 4 quality receivers. Now, he didn't play 4 wides. He only played straight. He loves that tight end. But talk about these young receivers he's got now. These kids are something special. I mean, DK, and added DK, who's a phenomenal Badgers, having a phenomenal run. We know what obviously Trey can do. Talk about the receivers. If you got this kid throwing the ball with the ability to throw it deep now, Franz, and with the receiving talent he's got, how does this change the offense?
Well, here's what changes, buddy. And it's kind of like that first throw you were talking about that Ben was talking about that DJ made. Those safeties suddenly are 10, instead of playing the Gators 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, suddenly they're at 18, 19 yards off the line of scrimmage. Now you got room to run the football. And this is what is going to happen. Georgia, we can talk all we want to about Georgia, and Georgia's really good. And they dialed it up, 7 sacks there against Texas. But if they can't pressure DJ, those safeties are going to get torched unless they're playing really, really, really deep, because Badger can run, DK can run, Trey Wilson can run, and then you come off the bench, you got a guy like Aiden Mizell, whose parents were All-American runners in track here at Florida, and as we know, Mouse Holloway and the track program, they don't have slow ones, By
the way, happy birthday to Mouse Holloway. I saw that you put a happy birthday in there, Ben, as well. Here's a guy that you can make a case for easily being the greatest coach in the history of the University of Florida.
You can make a case, buddy, that he is the best college coach, regardless of the sport, anywhere in America right now. Yeah. You could make that case, and nobody could argue it.
Yeah.
Because 14 national championships. But it's not just the 14 national championships. Look at the number of second and third place finishes they've had as well. And when you start adding those in, you're talking about the numbers like about 30, 31, 32. Unbelievable. Um, and, the one thing about everybody, I have friends who always tell me, we're not looking for the next Spurrier, or we're not looking for the next Urban Meyer. We're looking for the football equivalent of Mike Holloway, and they got a point. If you can find somebody who can produce like Mike Holloway does, who could be here a long time, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a great coach. But
Yeah.
Florida's got great receivers. Badger is making himself a lot of money. Now he's got another year. And here's a guy that if he doesn't feel, if the feedback he gets from the NFL isn't first or second round, he may decide he wants to come back here next year and play another year with DJ Lagway, and all of a sudden catch 50, 60 balls and get 1,400 receiving yards, and literally make them draft him early.
Right. Let me jump in here and do two things. One, I got to get a spot in. Two, I got to bring in Loren. And three, I want you guys to weigh in on this. Realistic expectations of what is possible now. We're talking about looking for another win. We're thinking FSU. How's it going to play out? There are a lot of people now who have on this show who are very hopeful, who weren't so much a couple of weeks ago. Let's give them in the final segment. We'll bring Loren in, and we'll have a realistic assessment of where this team is and what they could do, given the record, given the teams they have to play coming up in the next couple of weeks. Unbelievable, murderous row. We'll do this. We'll bring Loren in here, and then we'll go do our commercial. Friends at, hold on one second, Titan MRI. Let's see if I find Loren here. And that would be Coach Meadows right there. Good evening, Loren. How you doing?
How you guys doing?
I'm going to sit right there while I tell folks about Titan MRI. You're a medical guy, Loren. You know about this stuff. The ability to be able to go get an MRI and have your own schedule is amazing. And they will tailor make it for you at Titan MRI up in Gainesville. If you need, you work or you can't get off, they'll make you a weekend night reservation to go up there. Now, if you don't have the proper insurance or have any insurance, but you need an MRI, and sometimes you got to have an MRI whether you got the money or not. But they make it possible for you to get your cash and your card, whatever. Go up there and have the MRI, and it's not terribly, they're going to break you. You get your MRI. And then the other thing is, I don't know, how many of us have had MRIs? All of us, right? Yeah, Ben, have you? Yeah. So what's the least favorite part? Getting in that tube, getting claustrophobic, right, Loren? You get that. So you want to, yeah.
No,
in that thing.
It's having bad music in there when you can't move.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the bad part.
Oh yeah. Got to have better music, people. I mean, people like, man, why are you moving? Because man, y'all got me in here listening to. I don't even know who this is, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're
30
very
minutes
aware
of bad music. 30 minutes of bad music will make anybody squirm.
True. So that's what they can do for you. I encourage you, if you need an MRI, that's a place you should look. Go to titanmri.com. Ask them about what they can do for you. Plenty. All right. Well, Loren, good to see you again, my friend. You up and about and around. We're talking now about what's ahead of us. One thing about open date weekend, you have a chance to sort of breathe and put the numbers together and read the tea leaves, reproject where you thought the team was going to go before and where they're going now. And I think we probably can say safely our perspective has changed a good bit since last week. So having said that, let's start with Loren and say, let's not be absurd, but all kinds of possibilities are now on the table that weren't before. And I want to know, Loren, how you're feeling about it right now. And I want everybody to take a minute and tell me, size up where this team is right now. What's realistic? Because all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of things there that we didn't know were there. Loren?
Well, yeah. And I mean, first, I saw Jay Casey say he met me out at the Florida-Kentucky game, had a lot of nice things to say about all of us on the show. So I appreciate that. It was nice to meet him. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say perspective changed. I had this team at 7 wins going into the season. And I think that there's a path to 6. I don't know if there's a path to 7, but I will say that the football team is playing better. They're improved on both sides of the ball. I think they have simplified things on defense and found a footing offensively, even though under DJ Lagway. And I think his performance on Saturday gave this offense a lot more oomph from a morale standpoint than it may have had before. It looks like the offensive line could be as good as we maybe thought, at least serviceable, being able to dominate the Kentucky defensive line. So I think we just saw some things that really for the first time since COVID, a Florida football team push around the front of Kentucky, which then gives you a reason to think that maybe there's a blueprint that you can use. If you look at what Kentucky was able to do to Georgia, albeit early in the season, and look at what they were able to do to Ole Miss, then there could be a path to maybe 2 to 3 more wins, and then the season does look a little different. So the one thing we could say is the head scratching, the plays that somehow defy even what maybe a middle school or high school team would do is starting to look like an SEC football program. So I think based on the last 3 weeks, if you go by what the last 3 weeks brought you with an off week, then you could be encouraged by what the off week could bring in the next 3 weeks as well.
All right. So where you see it going, Loren?
I'm gonna say, there's some good football teams out there. I mean, see it going. I see them continue to play better. I mean, to kind of call the wins losses on it. The one thing I would say is I would be almost shocked if they don't beat Florida State. After that, nothing would surprise me except for the fact that if the football team would go out and lay down, I see it going as a group that continues to play better and steps up to the plate every single week. We didn't see that early. I think we'll see that in the next 5 football games. They'll be ready to go every Saturday and play with some gusto.
Yeah. Okay. So Franz, what we have now is an opportunity. Well, what is it? So we have a chance, like the old cliche goes. So there's a chance. Now, I don't think anybody's going to be bold enough to say they're going to beat Georgia. But let me just say some things, strange things have already happened. And I'm going to put this premise here before you right now. We talked about how SEC was going to be so different with Oklahoma and Texas coming in there and how hard it's going to be. True. But the fact of the matter, if you watch that Georgia-Texas game and you saw how hard Georgia was hitting and what happened to all of a sudden pull up short, Texas did. They didn't want no part of Georgia's big boys. And I'm just saying it's a different league than perhaps they thought it was. And I wonder now if the fact is the heat on Georgia and on Oklahoma to prove that they can play with the rest of these guys, Franz?
Well, the heat is definitely on them, and it has been from day one. And they knew this coming in. The SEC didn't sneak up on them. I think they were hoping they could sneak up on the SEC, and they haven't. But the SEC didn't sneak up on them. They knew what was going on. And so far, I'd like to have seen Oklahoma if they hadn't had the injuries that wiped out their receiving core and wiped out their offensive line. I think they would have been a very different team. I don't know that they would be significantly better in the win-loss record, but they would be better. They would certainly be more competitive. Texas, we got to see how Texas does in these next couple ball games, because was Georgia just a bad day at the office for them, or did they get exposed? I don't know at this point in time. Judging by the way they played their first 6 ball games, the tendency is to believe they had a bad day at the office, but we got to wait and see. The way Florida's playing right now, I think the Gators are capable of making a bad day at the office for a lot of people. I think 5 wins. Certainly, I'm counting the FSU game as a win because FSU just absolutely sucks big time. They're worse than they were during any year of Willie Taggart right now. And I mean, they're really bad. Can they steal one of those 4 games? And I think they can. I would say that the odds are that the stealable games will be either Ole Miss and LSU simply because they're at the Swamp and the Gators are going to play better before the home crowd. DJ Lagway is certainly going to have a lot easier time telling his guys what he wants them to do when the home crowd goes silent than he is before 100,000 in Austin and there at the Gator Bowl over in Jacksonville. But I think I wouldn't be surprised at 6-4. 7-5 would surprise me. It really would. But it would be a pleasant surprise. But are they capable of it? Absolutely, they're capable. But capable and actually doing it are 2 different things.
It's hard to find another win in there besides Florida State right now. I've looked and looked and looked and looked. I want to say a home game, that would mean they have to win, obviously, either Ole Miss or LSU. I think the easier team to beat is Ole Miss, but I think LSU could be a really good team. We'll find out this weekend. So you're squeezing it around a little bit, but is it okay to say they got a shot at something pretty good, Ben? And do you think this team could win 7 games?
Absolutely. And I think for every reason that Franz and Loren said, but we gave Tennessee away. And I know that game is over with now. Mm-hmm. Like, we gave that game away. That game that should have been in the win column, and it wasn't. I'm not doing the moral victory thing, but I think a light went off because let's face it, people's like, hey man, people look at Florida based off previous weeks, not week to week. And LSU, I get it. They've had our number. Well, guess who else have had our number the last 3 years? Kentucky. They beat us the last 3 years in a row. Ole Miss, I think the expectations were just too much for them because of what they did in 2023. I think that's winnable. And I think the thing about Texas and Georgia, you got to keep pressure on them, especially Georgia. Because the thing about Texas is Texas got the talent, Texas got the players, but that don't mean they can't be beat. And I get it. Georgia kind of exposed them a little bit, but as well as Florida's offense is playing, Florida's defense is playing extremely well. They're taking the ball away. They're getting off the field on third down. Just the things we've been talking about all year. Coach Will Harris has, earned every penny when you look at the way this defensive backfield is playing. So for me, yes, Georgia's always going to be a test. Yes, you're going to respect Texas because you got to go up there. DJ Lagway too young to feel it at this point. He's like, look, okay, he's from the state of Texas and he didn't go to Texas. He understood what the assignment was going to be. But I do think we said before the season, 7-5 with this schedule, it's coach of the year type stuff. He's not going to win it, but with this schedule, top to bottom, I think Florida can get to 6, maybe even 7. They're going to have to – I hate to use the word steal one, but they're going to have to steal one. And listen, if they beat Georgia or Texas, my goodness, they beat one of them teams.
Yeah.
People are going to be losing their mind, but I still think LSU and Ole Miss are very winnable because of what Franz said. Both games are at home. And if you can't beat Florida State this year, my God, I mean, you can't beat them this year with the team they rolling out there. But I do think that 7 wins is still possible. And 7 wins with the hardest schedule in the country going to get a lot of consideration when it comes time for the playoff. I'm not saying Florida will get in, but that's a lot of consideration when you start talking about Alabama, who should be 0-3 right now for the last 3 games. They won, And I think for Florida, just control what you can control. I'm really anxious to see how Florida going to look against Georgia because of what they've shown the last 2 weeks. And I saw, but we'll see. But I do think 6, maybe 7 wins is possible. Yes.
Yes, Loren. Here's the thing about it. We sound like we're getting a little too optimistic here. We're waxing optimistic, I would say, and I get it. But the fact is, that defense is pretty good when they're playing right, and you add in Lagway, and how well he's playing, and of course the fullback, the running back, and you got some young players playing good at wide receiver. There's a mix here in this team that could be formidable. And I know we're talking about the top minimum, whatever. It could happen. I don't know. I'm a little probably too optimistic. Loren, how are you?
I mean, I don't think you're too optimistic, buddy, because you see a football team that the last 3 weeks has played extremely well. I mean, took a top 10 team to the wall and dominated the other two opponents. I mean, I don't see why, being a football guy, where you wouldn't be optimistic. I mean, we're not calling wins here, but I do, like you said, you got DJ Lagway, whose legs and ability to push the ball downfield can be a great equalizer. You do have a defense that now looks like, for the first time under Billy Napier, that they can get lined up and anticipate and play with some physicality and run to the football and play with the savagery that you like to see an SEC defense play with. Now, they are going to face some really good football teams the next 4 weeks. And that's just the fact of the matter. Now, could they get one? Sure, but if anybody's looking at this football team, whatever you feel about the coaching staff, and don't think that they've been playing better football, then you haven't been watching the games. And so based on this football team is probably where we thought they would be week 1 right now.
I agree with that.
So they're about 4 weeks behind of schedule. So that's kind of where it is this a finished product right now? No, because we all thought Graham Mertz would be the quarterback and all that. But where it is now, they're about 4 weeks behind schedule. So if they can ramp up the schedule a little bit and start playing a little better, maybe ramp it up a couple weeks, then by the time they get to the cocktail party and then make the trip to Austin, it could be different. And I agree with you, buddy, and maybe I haven't thought about it as much, but I haven't really gone back and watched the Georgia game, and I will, obviously, before I start, talking about Georgia and obviously Texas the next week. But from what I've talked to people is there was a certain level of physicality that Texas was not able to handle.
Yeah.
So can Florida match that and then create a certain situation where they're able to create some maybe some doubt, some strain, if you know what I mean, some negative strain, and be in the game in Austin. I mean, especially coming off a game, if they throw blows with Georgia and get a split decision, 27-14, 34-20. And you was throwing blows and you made the corner, you make the corner man and the cut man do some work against Georgia. They're gonna come into that Texas game trying to throw the knockout blow.
Yes,
so I mean, I think that. So I mean, does and I know people gonna run with that and try to put us in the box that we're saying this and that. It's just the reality of watching football and understanding how football teams develop and how, in a lot of ways, and I've said it on this show, styles make fights. And that's basically what it could be.
I think Franz is leaning toward that way about the Georgia game right now, thinking maybe this could happen. Franz?
Well, here's the thing. Our margin for error is still very, very small. And it's going to be that way, for one thing, because as much as we've improved, we're still a very inexperienced football team. Look at all the kids we are playing. Bodes well for next year that we could have 4 or maybe 4 starting offensive linemen back and 8 of the top 10 guys in the rotation. Bodes well that Elijah Badger could decide to come back, but even if he doesn't, we got a lot of young talent there. Bodes well that running back room is just loaded and that DJ's there. All these things bode well, but the margin of error right now, which is what's important, is very, very small. Florida has to go out there and play games with minimal mistakes. if they do that, but that's true of any team out there. You play with minimal mistakes, you got a chance to win. Now, not every team has a guy like Elijah Badger who can stretch the field, and a guy like DJ Lagway who can throw that dime, 50 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So
What?
Florida's got to play well. They got to play with few mistakes. Is it doable? Yeah. But the margin of error is very, very slim.
I don't want to end this thing on a negative note, but I'm going to give you all a chance to bring it back. Ben, I have to ask these questions. We have to agree that obviously Florida was late getting into the transfer portal this year. They were slow in the uptake. They couldn't get their defense off the field. They couldn't get a guy. They couldn't get anybody to just make a stop. The offense was spotty. They couldn't get the right number. These all go back at Billy. And even though we want to give him a clean bill of health, there's some things he's got to straighten up, man. Do you think he will and can?
I think he will because he got players that will. I mean, these are the same plays these are the same calls. Like people think, oh, they're calling different stuff. No, they're not. You can't. Install happened in the summertime. They're running the same plays. I'm gonna keep saying this. Listen to me. My last 2 years of Florida, our offense was it wasn't vanilla, it wasn't Neapolitan, it wasn't none of that. It was very, very simple, and we just executed. The only thing that's going on now is they're executing. That's it. That's all they're doing. And the thing about DJ is what Graham Mertz wasn't, DJ just is. Graham Mertz took care of the football to a fault. DJ finna push it down the field. That's all he knows. I'm gonna push it because DJ says if it's one-on-one with my receiver, he's gonna catch it, drop it, or it's a pick. And if it's a pick, it's like a punt. I'm gonna push it down the field because most DBs can't go one-on-one with Badger or Trey or Burke, or DK. So all they're doing now is DJ will force Billy Napier to call better plays. How many plays are going horizontal now? Remember, we just get it. They're not doing that as much because that's disrespectful to the players and the DJ's talent. So can Billy Napier call better plays? I hope he can. But will they execute them better? Yes, these are the same. They got to call the same plays with a freshman in there. They can't just go deep into the playbook now. But the ability to have the deep ball and throw it with this running game makes Florida's offense very, very dangerous. Excuse me. But for me, it's going to come down to this. Is Billy ready to call a game plan to win the game? Not just compete, not just play hard, call a game plan to win it. What does that mean? That means you have to be aggressive. Because the thing about other teams now, this is what they know about Florida's offense of the past. They're going to be real conservative. They're going to go for it on fourth down. They're not going to get it, and they're going to put themselves behind the chains. Well, now, one play could be 40 yards down the field. Uh-oh. Now the defense is shuffling. So I do think that Billy Napier's going to call the plays. I get it. But with a guy, you can call the same play with Graham and DJ. They just going to make a different decision. That's it. Graham's going to throw it 8 yards. DJ might throw it 50. And it's the same play. But I do think that, and Loren knows this, nothing gives an offense confidence more when I got a gunslinger. Them receivers, they saying, put me in there. Because anybody can get it. That's even with the addition of the tight ends, with Hanson, Ardenham and those guys, Porterham and those guys. I just think that if we continue to play, because guess what? When the offense playing well, look at what it does to the defense. They playing with leads. Uh-oh. They playing with double-digit leads. So they can take chances on defense. They can put guys one-on-one. So when the offense is playing well, that gives confidence to the defense. And lo and behold, we got a punt returner. We even got that. We didn't even talk about DK and what he can do in that. I think that Florida has become a really, really balanced football team really, really quickly. But all that could be, for now, if we don't look the part in Jacksonville. Because if we don't, it doesn't mean we ain't good. It just means we got some ways to go. But I will say this. We come out there and execute. Because I know Kirby Smart, he playing the mind games with the, DJ Lagway, the way he's playing as a freshman. Now, he ain't lying because I don't know who's the best quarterback in the country. I know who the best freshman is. The best freshman in the country at quarterback played for Florida. Check the numbers. Just check them. You don't got to like it. The best quarterback in the country as a freshman in the SEC is DJ Lagway. And guess what? Guess what all the other receivers doing? They protecting him. So and we didn't even talk about Ball in the run game. Like I say, man,
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. I just hope they can keep it up. I just hope
We'll get another week. All right. So, Loren, having said all that, can they do it? Can they get it right, go in the right direction in time?
Man, it could be going in the right direction, and they could still lose the last 4 out of the last 5 games. I mean, you got to give credit. I tell this to people all the time. The other team practices too. You know, when people talk about why don't throw the ball deep, that's because that safety is on scholarship too. And his job is to stay as deep as the deepest. And that's why Franz talks about those intermediate throws is where you can do your damage, because in this league, those guys play on Sunday. Those safeties end up playing on Sunday. It's a lot of SEC safeties in the league right now. So I think it could be going in the right direction, and they could still, you know, if you remember, we talked about it's not necessarily much as the record as it has to look like something. And for once, it's starting to look like something. It's starting to look like a football team that is prepared, that is ready to play physical, and is making the plays that need to be made. I mean, is UCF, Kentucky, and Tennessee the juggernaut? Well, Tennessee, you know, a lot of people think they are, and they've played toe to toe. So, like I said, I think it's going in the right direction. The one saving grace, maybe, if you want to talk about offense, and that's what sells the tickets, is they have really just not even scratched the surface with Eugene Wilson. And if you remember in last year's Georgia game, Eugene Wilson was a factor early. So, you know, maybe they look to get him going again, and he could be the X factor. But it's going in the right direction. Is it in the right direction to the elephant in the room? I mean, we're going to have to see. Next 5 weeks is going. I mean, when they walk off the field at Tallahassee, we'll know exactly what's going on.
All right, we got 30 seconds, France. I want you to go back and remember some of the big hits in the Florida-Georgia game. We had some big ones. Remember?
Oh, heavens. Yeah.
And what would you like to see happen when Travis Etienne gets the
I'd like to see a meet Mr. Spikes moment when Brandon Spikes
I knew it.
When Brandon Spikes met No-Show Marino, and his real name was No Sean, but he became No-Show that day because Mr. Spikes planted him. I mean, that was a brutal hit, and a big play like that on defense early on just does something for you. It's like right now going on with Pittsburgh and Syracuse. Pittsburgh's intercepted 4 passes and run 3 of them back for pick sixes against Syracuse. But the first one was on the first possession by Syracuse. And boy, you get a lift like that on defense with a big hit or a big interception, or you got a guy that's thinks he's running wide open, and here comes that guy, and he reaches up and he knocks the ball away. And all of a sudden, you just feel the air going out of the other team.
Friends,
and Florida needs that.
This is Florida-Georgia week where weird things happen. We've seen it, a lot of them.
Oh, heavens, it certainly is. And it's going to take something weird.
Yeah,
Georgia's really good. As Loren just mentioned a couple minutes ago, those guys on Georgia are on scholarship too. Mm-hmm. And most of them are pretty darn good.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. Well, anyway, guys, great job tonight. You're getting down to the big week. It's going to be fun next week. You guys are all terrific in your commentaries and your reporting and writing, and appreciate it. You can read Franz and Loren online on GatorBaitMedia.com. And one of these days, Ben, he's promised me he's going to take out he's an author. He wrote a book. You think he can write a column once in a while, Loren?
I mean, BJ wrote it. BJ gonna plagiarize it, and I'm gonna just turn it in.
It's not plagiarizing.
You just gotta mouth it into the mic. You know.
Exactly. I'm gonna say, listen. I'm gonna say, DJ Lagway is the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
There you go.
Hey, praying for you, friends. Praying for you, man. for
Me
sure.
as well. Me as well.
Yeah, we are. And
We
by the way,
appreciate that, guys. We really do. That's kind of you, kind of all of you.
little news about Steve Russell today, friends. Steve Russell is now stepping down at the end of this year. I don't think he necessarily. I don't know what happened. I hope he doesn't. But Steve Russell has been around a long time. We don't even wish him all the best.
Yeah, Steve's one of the good guys, and has always been a voice of fairness. You know, there's a lot of guys out there, and we love our homers. Don't get me wrong on there. We do love our homers, but it's also really nice when we've got a guy that really does his best to play it down the middle and give each side an equal opportunity. And Steve Russell has always been that guy. And I hope that it's not a sign that he's retired for good. I hope it's just one chapter of his life is closing and the next chapter is about to begin.
Yeah, I got a feeling we'll see him around. Hey, guys, you were great. All right, thanks. Appreciate it very much. Franz Beard, Loren Meadows, and Ben Troupe. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Much. Hang on, folks, while I tell you about one of our fine sponsors who've been with us for a long time, and we do appreciate them for lots of reasons. The emotional and financial backing they give us the confidence. They've been with us for like 6 years now. And that would be a company called Renstar Medical Research. They are so important to our community in North Central Florida because they're constantly doing research on all of us with these clinical trials to find out what kind of medications we need, what we need, and also having these trials, they give you a chance to come in and participate in them and be a part of them. And there are some really good ones, and there's some things that might affect you that you want to know about. Watch for it on renstar.net. They have these trials, and they will pay time and travel compensation for that. They're committed to our community, committed to us. And we like to say Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Folks, appreciate our guest tonight, as usual, to have our family together. Thanks to Ben Troupe for his fine commentary and his preaching. We always love Ben to hear Ben preach. Thanks to Franz Beard, the Iron Duke, going through some tough times. Prayers for his family. And, of course, to Loren Meadows, the coach. I'm Buddy Martin. We're back off this weekend and back at you next week. Don't forget to read GatorBaitMedia.com and check out some of the articles you'll like them. I promise you if you're a Gator fan. Have a good night, folks. Thanks.